Welcome to Leadership Devotionals. For today, we are on the 9th installment of Jesus on Leadership. And this is actually the third installment on the subtopic of Jesus developing leaders. We have talked about Jesus and his mission. His leadership is guided, guided and motivated by his mission. We have talked about Jesus on servant leadership and how he has transformed that word doulos and diakonos, which means servants or slaves, transformed that from a word of derision into a noble, word wherein people these days would rather serve. Leaders would rather serve. And it's not just only staying in that level of servant leadership. He even elevated it further when he said, "You are no longer my servants, but you are my friends." And so it became a relational leadership. And from there, we have talked about Jesus developing leaders, developing his disciples, being patient in coaching them, being patient in mentoring them, being patient in all their weaknesses, so that eventually when he left, when he ascended to heaven, as recorded in the book of Acts, his disciples were among the foundational leaders of the early Christian church. And so today we are on the third installment, and we can see here that the literature and the importance of team building. Jesus established his own team. And his own team is composed of his 12 disciples. And so we can see here that in the importance of team building and on the vital role teams play in the achievement of goals and objective of the organization is vast and extensive. Teams play a very, very important role. Today's leaders who function as the proverbial lone rangers, all by yourself, do it all, are frowned upon and not generally successful or effective. While team building is considered a core responsibility of leadership. In fact, John Maxwell has said in his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, the law of having a close team members. It's very, very important. Aside from you have others who will help you in the discharge of your responsibility. You will also have people who will listen to you when you are faced with problems and with stresses. In the book of Jim Collins, in his book Good to Great, the level 5 leaders, it was found out that before they set the direction as to where the company will go, before they set how the bus will run and which direction the bus will run, they first have to have the right people in the bus. They first need to have the right team members within their inner circle. That's the law of the inner circle of John Maxwell, and that's in the book of Jim Collins, it's what you call the right people in the bus, the right team members around you. And so team members is very, very important. Why? Because teams maximizes the strength of people while minimizing their weaknesses. Yes, I may be strong in this, and so I can be an asset to the team, but I'm not all powerful. I don't know everything. So I have my weaknesses, and the other team members can complement for that. That's why team maximizes our strength and minimizes our weaknesses. As team members complement each other, striving together in pursuit of a shared vision and exercising a diversity of skills, effective service is assured. Not only effective service, but even the achievement of the organizational goal or the team goals is assured. A team of people will accomplish more than an individual on his or her own. Such leaders who organize team, leaders who can depend on people, leaders who knows how to empower others, who can delegate both power and authority. Such leaders, are people who are secure in themselves. Because it is very important to remember that for a leader to organize his team, it calls for humility. Yes, it calls for a leader to be humble. Yet teams also call for humility on the part of the more gifted and a willingness on the part of the leader to share both authority and responsibility. Leaders who hoard power all to themselves stifle the creativity and abilities of their team members. Such leaders reveal their own insecurities and fears while demonstrating a woeful inability to trust people. In the end, such leaders will wear themselves out trying to do everything on their own. And so what did Jesus do? Jesus was willing to empower those whom He called to serve with Him. Oh, this is so beautiful. I repeat, Jesus was willing to empower those whom He called to serve with Him. Brothers and sisters, fellow leaders, you and I, we have been called to the cause of God. We have been entrusted with His talents, with His people, with His organization, and I am sure Jesus is willing to empower you. He saw that each individual can exercise leadership in the mission of God. He promised His disciples the power of the Holy Spirit. And nearing the end of His time on earth, Jesus told His disciples that He will also share the authority even of heaven with them as they set forth to make disciples into all the world. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. But before He said go, He said, all power is given unto me in heaven and on earth. And so He was willing to share that authority of heaven with them. Jesus had spent an inordinate amount of time mentoring His disciples, coaching them, instructing them, qualifying them, and encouraging them for service. We can read in Matthew 13. It's a whole chapter wherein, Jesus, yes, of course, Jesus was teaching the crowd. But if you dig deeper into the stories, if you dig deeper into the parables that He was sharing, it was all, most of that were leadership lessons wherein His disciples can glean nuggets of wisdom, of leadership from Jesus Christ. The same as we can see in Mark chapter 4, verse 35 to 41, or in the book of Luke chapter 14, verse 26, in John 14, all of this record how Jesus patiently taught His disciples, how Jesus patiently coached and mentored them. If you can remember in this leadership devotionals, you can look back in our files of videos. We have there a whole episode about Peter on leadership and how Jesus patiently mentored Peter to become the leader that he was in the early Christian church. And so a fundamentally significant element of team building is leadership succession. Okay, remember that. Very fundamental. If you have a team that you can trust, when you leave the organization, when you retire from the organization, when you are gone, you are assured that the success of the organization is there because you have trained, you have equipped a team that is ready to carry on the programs that have been established. The same as Jesus did with His disciples. That's why we see now 2,000 years after Jesus have ascended to heaven, Christian church is a widespread religion, widespread movement across the whole planet Earth. It has been said, and rightly so, that there is no sustainable success without a successor. John C. Maxwell views legacy as one of the indispensable laws of leadership in his book 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, saying that the success of leaders should be gauged by whether their organization thrive after they leave. Remember this. The success of leaders should be gauged by whether that organization will thrive after they leave. Leaders who do not build up others or who fail to multiply the leadership potential in those who serve alongside them neglect to perform one of their key roles. That's why it's very, very important, my dear fellow leaders. Let us organize our team. Let us build our inner circle. Let us be cautious. Let us be intelligent. And let us be picky in picking up our team members so that we put in the right people on the bus. And when we do that, we can be assured that when we leave, everything will be successful. But if we are already there with the people around us, the lesson that Jesus is telling us, we have to be patient with people. We have to instruct them. We have to educate them. We have to coach them. We have to mentor them. And we have to encourage them for service. Yes, Jesus organized his team with those fishermen, with those publicans. But we know when Jesus left, they were the pillars of the early Christian church. Fellow leaders, let us develop the leaders beneath us. And when we do that, it multiplies the leadership that has been entrusted to us. God bless you. Hello, fellow leaders. If you have been blessed with the devotional that you have just heard, don't forget to like, share, or subscribe. Because when you do that, more people, more leaders will be blessed with the same blessing that you have experienced. In YouTube channel, click subscribe to Good Shepherd Consultants. God bless you.